Well, with today's program, we're now 11 shows into our summer video and audio podcast series on reflective learning. And we've all read through student reflections over the years, probably stacks of them, that basically say very little before petering out. No detail, no depth, nothing you can actually respond to. Now, earlier in my teaching career, I used to think that it was a motivation problem, but now I'm not so sure. The issue seems to come from 5 particular stumbling blocks that students run into. So today, we'll look at how to make a quick fix for each one of those. Hello again, everyone. I'm Stokes Schwartz, and welcome back to the Collaborative Cafe. Welcome to the Collaborative Cafe, where we brew up innovative approaches to student collaboration and development of 21st century skills. Okay, stumbling block number 1, our students don't get the point. Keep in mind that they've spent years treating reflection as an afterthought, busy work that's tacked on to the real assignment. Researcher Mary Ryan has shown, though, that students are rarely taught how to reflect. They're just told to do it. So the first step is probably the easiest fix. Be upfront about the purpose. Out loud, every time. Not an enigmatic, reflect on this. Instead, try something like, I want you to notice where your thinking shifted, because that's the exact skill that you'll get asked about in a job interview, a year-end review, or a review for promotion later during your career. Another stumbling block is fear of being judged. Many students aren't just worried about a grade, they're worried about how they'll look. Researcher Jan Ross calls this performing a version of yourself for the reader instead of reflecting honestly. Here's how to get around that. Lower the stakes structurally. An ungraded first draft or sharing with just one trusted teammate instead of the entire class can change what many students are willing to say. Third, many of our students don't know what enough looks like. Now, that particular issue is a skills gap rather than an attitude problem. Jennifer Moon's framework distinguishes reflection that just notices something from reflection that reworks student understanding of it. And most students have only ever practiced the first kind. To push them in the right direction, though, provide students with examples that illustrate the difference. A surfacey reflection next to a deeper one. Then ask your students what's different, not what's better. Another problem when it comes to reflection about their learning is that the exercise feels like busy work that just disappears into the ether for too many students. If there is never any follow-up or reference to that work later, students are apt to conclude, correctly, that it doesn't matter. The answer is to close the loop. Pull one anonymized line from last week's stack of reflections into this week's opener at the start of class. Now, these 4 reflection pitfalls are fairly easy to fix, but there's another one that's easy for those of us on the instructor side of the desk to misinterpret as a refusal to engage by one or more student. And overlooking it risks punishing our most thoughtful students. Keep listening to find out what that is and how we can avoid making that mistake. Welcome back. Okay, stumbling block number 5 has to do with cultural discomfort when it comes to self-disclosure. For some of our students, reflection itself runs against real cultural norms about what's appropriate to share and with whom. Researchers Jan Fook and Gurid Askeland found that critical reflection carries real cultural risk, and educators need to actively manage that rather than assume that everyone is starting from the same level of comfort. There is an easy way to address the challenge, though. Offer students a choice of format, either written, verbal, one-on-one, or maybe small group reflections. And never require disclosure that students haven't chosen to give. Depth of reflection doesn't require exposure. You're listening to the Collaborative Cafe, where we brew up innovative approaches to student collaboration and development of 21st century skills. If you find this episode helpful, hit like, share, and subscribe. When it comes to common stumbling blocks our students encounter when we ask them to draft a reflection, there are 5 relatively easy fixes. 1. Name the purpose. 2. Lower the stakes. 3. Provide examples of superficial versus deep reflection. 4. Provide relevant follow-up of some kind to at least a few of the reflections turned into you. And 5. Give students a choice of format. As I've pointed out in my previous episode, none of that means redesigning your course from the ground up. Small structural shifts, however, tend to produce student reflections that read more like actual thinking rather than blind compliance. And that's engagement that we can all work with. Next time, we'll circle back to making reflection work in large enrollment courses. See you then. Thanks for dropping by the Collaborative Cafe. See you again soon.